Fellas, what a direct that was. Hi guys, it's Cyanize here. Yeah, I've been up all night. I actually made a post saying I was going to be up all night because I couldn't sleep because I was so excited for the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct. And needless to say, I think it exceeded expectations and went even further. Yeah, this thing was insane to say the least. Now, while I do think this Nintendo Direct is amazing, there is a couple things I don't really vibe with all that much, but I want to save those for later videos because today I just kind of want to talk about the Direct itself and, you know, what was in the confines of this Direct, because I feel like the Direct itself was one of the best Nintendo Directs we've ever had. And I want to highlight that as well as, you know, share the, you know, TLDR of kind of what we got. I'm not going to talk about everything that was shown here because I'm really tired. Again, I've been up all night, though we'll talk about most of it. I will warn you, this is going to be a bit of a long video because as you guys may or may not know, the Direct was an hour long. So yeah, get yourself a snack, sit tight and relax, and let's get into it. So starting off, we get to see more footage of Mario Kart. Now, the title of this game is called Mario Kart World. And yeah, this game is a lot more ambitious than I thought it was going to be. In the trailer, you know, we didn't see too much. We see a lot of like stylized characters as well as like grind rails and whatnot. We're seeing the characters bounce from wall to wall, grinding. And then we see a lot of new characters like the freaking Moo Meadows cow for some reason. That was not on my bingo list for this game, but you know, I am not going to complain. That is awesome. I cannot wait to play as the Moo Meadows cow. That is so cool. And then there's also like a transformation thing that you can do as well. You can like transform and have different outfits. I don't know what the purpose of that's going to be, but you know what? Hey, the fan art's going to be amazing. And I can't not wait to go on twitter.com and see all the fan art from this trailer, because I'm already seeing a lot of Peach fan art and it's been great. It's been great. Now, the main selling point of this game is the open world. Apparently there is no like borders. There's no like lakitu stopping you from going anywhere. Apparently you could just drive wherever the heck you want. That's kind of the selling point of this game. It's GTA with Mario characters, I guess. And yeah, there's not really much to say on this aspect. I'm gonna kind of hold my thoughts until the Mario Kart Direct, as well as talking about the pricing and whatnot. Again, I'm gonna save those for separate videos, but yeah, oh my god, this game actually looks really good. And oh my god, the character roster so far. Again, I mentioned the Moo Meadows cow earlier, but yeah, I've seen some other crazy things, like a freaking bonefish. There's a penguin. There's a freaking snowman driving a motorcycle. Like, I don't know what is going on with these character picks, but you know what? I'm all here for it. It is insane. As well as the maps, they look so pretty. And dude, I don't know what else to say. There's bigger Mario fans out there who will have way more to say than what I'm gonna say. But again, we're gonna have a Mario Kart Direct pretty soon, so I might share my thoughts on there if you guys are interested. And also with this, it has been confirmed that this will be a launch title for the Nintendo Switch 2. I think that was pretty obvious, but yeah, it will be coming out with the Switch 2 when it launches. Yeah, kind of expected considering it was the first thing we saw, but you know, it's nice to have the confirmation. It's nice to have a numbered date, which we'll get into that numbered date in a moment when we get to it. But yeah, moving on, we move on to a console overview. It's kind of interesting, the structure of the overall Direct. We kind of flip-flop between like showing off games and then talking about the console. It was a very weird structure. And yet, because of how weird it was kind of fun and interesting. I don't know. It's weird. It's very weird. I don't know. Maybe if I look back on it, maybe I won't like it as much. But I thought it was really fun and it kept me on my toes. But anyway, moving on to the next thing they talk about. They talked about the elusive C button. Now, for the longest time, thanks to the leaks, we knew it was called the C button, but we didn't know what it did. And now we do. It's apparently Nintendo's answer to Discord and or voice chat. You can apparently voice chat with your mutuals and you can play games with them. This is the closest thing we're ever going to get to Discord on the Nintendo Switch. And I gotta say, if it's looking the way that they're presenting it, it doesn't look all too bad. Now, obviously, I'm going to continue to use Discord because I'm an adult and have access to Discord.com. But I think this is cool for kids who don't have access to Discord. And I think this is a cool thing. It's way better than what we had with the Nintendo Switch online app. So, you know, I got to give it credit for that. Yeah, there's not really much to say with it. It kind of works exactly how you expect it to work. There's a speaker that comes out of the Nintendo Switch console itself. But yeah, you know, there's a lot of things you could do with it. Now, the thing that caught me off guard about this, though, is that apparently you can have face cam with the Nintendo Switch. So there's going to be a little accessory that you can buy that basically gives you a face cam and it will allow you to put your face on the screen of the games that you play. And I think that's going to be insane, dude. The way they showed it off is that apparently you can have like little circles that showcase your face, but you could also have a green screen version of yourself. Like you could have your background completely cut off and then have your face in the screen there. You can basically have like your entire like background cut off and it will just show your face. And I think that's super awesome. I think think that's really great. For a $50 add-on, I think that's really nice. I don't know how well it's going to work, but I think it would be a nice little, you know, addition, nice little accessory. I really, like, I appreciate the thought that went into this. I appreciate Nintendo attempting to, you know, get with the times a little bit. Even though it's a little late, I kind of appreciate it. I have to respect it. I just think it's cool. Now, this next one I kind of forgot until I rewatched the Direct, but they're basically allowing you to share your games across other, you know, consoles, across like your family plan and whatnot. This will basically make it so that if one person owns the game, the other people who want to join into the game, so say like you're playing Mario 3D World or whatever, the 3 other people don't need to own the game and they can just play with you. I don't know how it's going to work specifically, but it's kind of like how the download play on the 3DS worked, I believed. I forgot how that works specifically, but it's kind of like that. And it's kind of cool, you know, just kind of, you know, allowing people to play the game even if they don't own it. It's pretty cool. It's awesome. Then next up, they kind of talk about the console specs, which is, again, it's kind of random considering they were just talking about voice chat randomly. Again, the structure of this Direct is so freaking weird. I don't understand what's going on. But yeah, no, they talk about the specs. Like, they get really into it, and it's awesome. What is it? They talk about the Switch being able to run 120 frames per second, which, look, I know that's like the bare minimum. That's like industry standard nowadays. But I think that's awesome for Nintendo. I think it's great that we're finally getting a modern console that can run 120 frames per second. And not only that, it has 4K support. I don't know, am I insane? Have I just been deprived of a, you know, high quality Nintendo console that can stand up to the likes of the PS4 Pro? Am I just crazy? I don't know, but I think it's just so cool to finally have that. It's so cool that we're gonna finally get games that run well and actually look good in the modern day. I don't know, I'm really excited. They also talk about the Joy-Cons a bit, kind of the obvious things that you know about, you know, bigger Joy-Con, bigger buttons and whatnot, but they also show off the mouse feature a little bit, and yeah, it kind of works exactly how we expected it to work. There's not really much to say here. I could speculate about the uses, but YouTubers like Beat 'em Ups have already done that for me, so I'm not gonna dabble too much into it. But I think it's really cool. And there's also a game that utilizes this feature, which I will get into in a moment, but I think it's really cool. I think it's really nice. I think it's really nice to have another like gameplay option for games that use like a mouse feature, like games like Five Nights at Freddy's. I don't know. Skipping ahead a bit though to something that I thought was super interesting. They talked about the storage that the Switch is going to start off with. We went from 32 gigabytes to 256 gigabytes. That is insane. I think that is awesome. I know that's not too much in the grand scheme of things, but you know, compared to the Switch 1, that's still pretty amazing. Like, I can't deny. And then following that up, we get another game announcement. Again, it's so weird. I cannot stop commenting about it, but the structure of this Direct is so weird because I know they're going to talk about the SD card later, and I want to get into that. But for some reason, they just decided to talk about this next. And yeah, again, it's so weird. It's so weird. But yeah, basically they announced like an Astrobot Playroom sort of game where it basically teaches you about the inner workings of the Nintendo Switch 2 and what it does. It's like a little like hub or whatever. It teaches you like all the things it does. It gives you a quiz and whatnot. It's called a Welcome Tour for the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, interestingly enough, it's not a pack-in title. Apparently, you have to pay for it. You have to spend money on it. Like, what? Why is the tutorial for the Nintendo Switch 2 cost money? Why does it cost money? That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make... Why do I have to pay to learn more about the Nintendo Switch 2 when I already bought the thing? It makes no sense. But moving on from that, they finally talk about the game cards and the SD cards. So a lot of people speculated that the new Nintendo Switch 2 game cards were going to have the little like gray, I'll show it on screen, the gray little like chip on the side to represent that it's a 3DS game and not a DS game. No, they didn't do that. All they did was they made the Switch card, they made the outline red instead of gray like the original Switch card is. I guess it works. I don't know. It's the same size and length and whatnot as the original Switch 1 card. So I wonder, like, what's stopping you from putting this into your Switch 1? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what they have to do about that. Now, moving on to this next part, though, this is the part where I was kind of like, I don't know. They talk about the additional storage in regards to the SD cards. Now, apparently, if you bought an SD card for the Nintendo Switch 1, it is not going to work on the Nintendo Switch 2. That's a little crazy. That's probably why they put a lot of storage onto the Nintendo Switch 2. So that way when you're transferring all your stuff over, the Switch 2 can still hold your data while you get an SD card. Which, thank God, because, yeah, that's kind of a bit of a punch in the face. I don't mind buying another SD card. I have the money, I can afford that stuff. But that is a slap in the gut for a lot of consumers. And again, I'm going to talk about this more in my, in an upcoming video, because this is a very important topic about the pricing going on with the Nintendo Switch 2 accessories and games and whatnot. But I still think it's really annoying. It's a big slap in the face. You can't just take the SD card out of your Switch 1 and put it in your Switch 2. Like, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. And then they show off the Nintendo Switch 2 controller. There's not really much going on here other than that the inner gyro stick part of it's gray, as well as the bumpers and the triggers and whatnot. And there's also the addition of the GR button and the GL button. I don't know what those are going to be used for, but I guess you have little buttons underneath the little grippers, I guess. Why not? As well as an audio jack, but again, I mentioned that earlier, so yeah, probably never going to use that feature, but I think it's cool. It's pretty cool. And then we get hit with the release date, which I don't know why it took us this long to get to this part, but yeah, it is coming out on June 5th, 2025. Way earlier than I think most of us expected it to come out. And yeah, that's practically 2 months from now. So you guys know what that means. Ice soup for the next 2 months. But moving on from that, they then talk about the various game types that are going to be compatible on Nintendo Switch 2. Now, obviously, there's going to be Nintendo Switch 2 games as well as Nintendo Switch 1 games. But then they talk about Nintendo Switch 2 Edition games. This is basically Nintendo Switch 1 games. This is basically Nintendo Switch 1 games getting remastered, I guess, for the Nintendo Switch 2. Basically like performance updates as well as like new content. And the first game they highlight with this change is Super Mario Party Jamboree. You get the addition of Jamboree TV. Now, I don't really know specifically what this adds. I haven't played much of Jamboree, but it's looking like, a bunch of new content and new mini games that also utilizes the new face cam feature. So I think that's pretty cool. They then tell us how we're going to get access to these upgrade packs, and you're going to buy these upgrade packs. You're either going to buy the Nintendo Switch 2 edition of this game, or you're going to buy this upgrade pack. Apparently, you can buy it physically or digitally. I don't know how it's going to work specifically. But some games will just have upgrade packs you can have. And then there's going to be some games like The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild or Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, where their upgrade packs, instead of like adding content, they're just going to be more so like performance updates, like having them run at 60 frames per second and whatnot. Because these games definitely need it. They're really good looking games and they needed to run better. They really needed this. And, you guys know where I'm going with this. Guys, Xenoblade Chronicles, get these games their upgrade packs. Oh my God, they desperately need it. But yeah, these two Zelda games are going to get some Switch Online functionality through the app. They're going to get some like little features added onto it. I don't personally care. I've already beaten these games, but I just think it's cool for a bunch of newcomers, and Tears of the Kingdom specifically, you can share the schematics of the crazy crap that you built, and you can share them with other players around the world. So yeah, if you built a giant like robot, you can share that with all your friends. So I think that is cool. But then they show off another game that gets an upgrade pack, and it's instead of a performance update, it's for Kirby and the Forgotten Land, and it's called the Star-Crossed World. I don't know what it is, but yeah, Kirby and the Forgotten Land is gonna get a Nintendo Switch 2 edition, and it includes more content, because why the heck not? As well as Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, they show off the Nintendo Switch 2 edition there, but that one's more of just a, performance update rather than, new content. It's kind of weird how they decide which games are going to get, like, actual content and which ones are going to get performance update. I don't know how they're going to go about that, but we'll see. Oh, and they also showed off Legends EA, forgot to mention that. The game looks a lot better, it looks a lot smoother. I don't think the textures and the graphics have gotten improved, but it just looks like it's running stable. Like, it looks like it's running at 60 frames per second compared to what we saw it originally when it first got revealed. And yeah, so far those are the only games we've actually seen with Nintendo Switch 2 editions. They did announce a bunch of games that will be having Nintendo Switch 2 editions. Yeah, most of them are probably going to be performance updates. I don't know how they're going to go about deciding which games are going to get new content. I guess it's just if the developers feel like it. I don't know how they decide that and whatnot. Now, at the time of me making this video, I don't know how much the Switch 2 edition games are going to cost. Hopefully they're pretty low, but we will see. Ooh, and this part was very interesting. They show off a new game that utilizes the mouse functionality of the Joy-Cons. You play as these like wheelchair guys that wheelchair around and they like shoot hoops and play basketball. It's so weird. It's basketball for disabled people. I mean, I think that's awesome. I think that's such a cool idea. I don't know if I'll enjoy this more than ARMS, but it's cool to see that Nintendo's making new IP that utilizes the new features and functionality of the controllers that they're making. I just think that's so cool. I honestly cannot wait to try out this game. Then this part was probably the coolest part of the Direct. They started announcing all the games that are going to be coming. By the way, all the games here that you're going to see right now, all these games are coming on launch day on the Nintendo Switch 2. Keep that in mind, because this launch day is going to be insane with the amount of games that they announced. So obviously this first one, Elden Ring, big game, one game of the year. Like it's one of the greatest like open world games out there. Oh my God, seeing this thing on the Nintendo Switch finally is awesome. Following that up, we get Hades 2. I have yet to play Hades 2. I played Hades 1 and I really like that a lot. It's really nice to see Hades 2 on here. Yeah, it's a roguelike. Yeah, you guys know how a roguelike works. Oh, and this next one caught me so off guard. Street Fighter 6 is coming to the Nintendo Switch too. Not really a surprise, you know, I feel like we all saw that coming. I think that's really cool. And this version of Street Fighter 6 is going to include all the DLC and whatnot. So I think that's also really cool. But you know what blew me away? Is that apparently they announced amiibo functionality through Street Fighter 6. You want to know the crazy part is that we didn't have any confirmation of amiibo returning onto the Nintendo Switch up until this point. Now, one could say that was pretty obvious, you know, like, oh, why would they ever get rid of amiibo functionality? But I think it's crazy that we heard nothing about amiibo support on the Nintendo Switch 2 until Street Fighter 6. And not only that, we're getting 3 brand new amiibo for the characters in Street Fighter 6, and they look so good. Oh my god. And not only that, we're getting a bunch of cards for all the playable characters currently in Street Fighter 6, which I think is so cool. Yeah, I don't know. I just think it's so cool to have amiibo, you know, continue to be relevant on Nintendo Switch. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy for thinking that Nintendo wasn't going to support amiibo anymore. But I don't know, there was just a weird part of me thinking they just weren't going to do it anymore. But it's very nice to see that they're still going strong and they're going to make third-party amiibos like this. And yeah, I cannot wait to grab them. We then see a bunch of other ports and other like third parties, you know, going in on Nintendo Switch. Again, keep in mind, all day one launch titles. I think that is amazing. The third-party support on the Nintendo Switch 2 is out of this world. Like everybody's coming in onto this console. I think that's amazing. But the game I want to highlight though, Yakuza 0, the director's cut is coming to the Nintendo Switch 2. I am so excited. I have the game on PC, but I never finished it. Having it come on the Switch, I might actually like indulge myself. I mean, I feel like I might as well. This is like the best time to get back into Yakuza 0. And I cannot wait. I cannot wait to give it a shot. And following that up, I think we got hit with one of the coolest surprises in this entire direct. Now, depending on who you ask, you know, maybe the last reveal was a little bit more interesting. But this one like got me popping off. Now, I don't know if you guys have seen my top 10 favorite Nintendo Switch games, but I ranked Age of Calamity pretty high on my list. And let's just say they did that crap again. But this time it's based on Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah, we have another Hyrule Warriors game, but this game basically takes place when Zelda gets transferred into the past. So I don't know if you guys remember in Tears of the Kingdom, Zelda was forcefully sent to the past after their confrontation with Ganondorf at the bottom of Hyrule Castle. And so this game takes place in the past during the Imprisoning War. And it's so crazy. So you don't have Link in this game. You have Zelda, you have Rauru, you have Minoru, you got the 4 sages. It's so freaking cool, dude. It's so cool. It's like Age of Calamity, but this time there's no Link. And this takes place in the Tears of the Kingdom universe, which I think is so cool. And also, it just means we're going to get more Ganondorf and Matthew Mercer, because if you guys don't know, Matthew Mercer voices Ganondorf. I think that's so cool. We actually saw a snippet of him in the trailer. I am very excited. I know some people don't like Warriors games, but I genuinely think they're some of the best games out there. I'm genuinely excited to pick this game up, and I think this was a really fun surprise. And not only that, while I was recording, they just happened to announce amiibo for this game. They announced the 4 sages, Sidon, Tulin, Yunobu, and Riju. Oh my god, their amiibo look awesome. Again, so happy that they're continuing to make amiibo. It means the world to me. I love collecting these amiibo, and I hope to continue collecting them for years to come. I love these guys, and these amiibo look awesome. Now, speaking of surprises, in case we just didn't have enough of them already, Nintendo GameCube is coming to the Nintendo Switch Online service. Oh my god, this is awesome. This is absolutely awesome. I didn't think we'd get here at this point, but I am so happy to be here. We got a couple of announcements in regards to games, as well as a exclusive N64 controller. What did I say? N64? Sorry, GameCube controller. I'm struggling. I've been up all night. But yeah, we got various game announcements, including The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, Soul Calibur 2, as well as F-Zero GX, among other games. You know, we also got games like Fire Emblem Path of Radiance and Pokemon Gale of Darkness XD. Dude, we got a lot of games to play through on the Nintendo GameCube. I think GameCube is one of those libraries where I feel like I'm going to get the most out of my Nintendo Switch Online membership personally, because I'm just not a fan of the older retro games. I don't know. I don't know if it's like, you know, the product of being, you know, in the Gen Z era, but I don't know. GameCube, I feel like GameCube is like right there. It's like in that line between retro retro and modern, where I feel like I could enjoy it compared to a lot of the older video games on the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack. I don't know. The GameCube is kind of like in that like middle ground between retro and modern. I don't know. GameCube, I feel like is one of those consoles with a library that I feel like I would actually personally enjoy more so than most of the other previous consoles that we had. And then I'm not the biggest fan of this, but I know a lot of people are freaking out. But Deltarune chapters 1, 2, 3, and 4 are all coming to Nintendo Switch 2. Happy for fans. I just have never played this series before. And I know saying that makes a lot of people upset, but I'm sorry, I just haven't played them yet, and I'll get to it eventually. We then get a couple more Switch announcements, and funnily enough, this is the point where the stream actually started to lag out. There's no reason to bring this up, really, when I'm highlighting the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct, but I just thought it was funny because we were watching this, and then we got, like, what is it? It froze on this one, like, island crafting game or whatever. I couldn't tell you the name of it. But then, like, the audio was still going, right? So we just heard Cyberpunk 2077 and Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade being announced for the Nintendo Switch 2. But we saw no footage, so it was so weird. We were like reacting to the audio cues rather than the actual footage we were seeing. It was so freaking funny. And then we got a couple more game announcements. Notably, Hollow Knight Silksong got showcased. It has a 2025 release date, and despite not showing anything other than that, Silksong fans lost their mind. And then we get a long trailer for Duskbloods, which I genuinely thought this was the last announcement they had. And yeah, I don't really know too much about this game or IP. It looks cool. I thought it was Dark Souls for a moment. And then they just start hitting us with some random, again, more surprises. They just love hitting us with surprises. We see a gray star, and then we see Kirby, and we're like, oh, why does this kind of look like Smash Brothers? No, but it was actually Kirby Air Riders. And oh my god, it is so crazy seeing this game back. And not only that, Masahiro Sakurai is directing this game. They actually, you know, made a point to actually point that out. It's kind of crazy how big of a name Sakurai is, to the point where they put that in the trailer and people lose their minds. I think that's cute. I think it really is a testament to how big of an influence that Sakurai has in the gaming community. And then our final gaming trailer, we get a trailer for Donkey Kong Bonanza. Now, a lot of people have been wanting a 3D Mario, and it's so funny because we kind of get it, but it's with Donkey Kong instead. And this game looks like if Astrobot and Donkey Kong had a kid, because oh my god, this game is not only beautiful, but it looks amazing. It looks so fun to just smash stuff. That's what Donkey Kong is going to be doing in this game. He's going to be smashing the crap out of everything, and it looks so fun. He's going to be digging down. He's going to be smashing rocks. He's going to be throwing them around. Honestly, my only like gripe with this game is that they're using a brand new design of DK. And while he is very expressive in this new form, I've always been a fan of the Rare design. And yeah, it's going to take a bit of getting used to. But you know what? This design, they've kind of sold me on a little bit. You know, it's not the worst thing ever now that I'm like seeing it in gameplay. Compared to the Mario Kart World Showcase where we saw him for a bit. That looked a little jarring. But this looks a lot better. And yeah, oh my god, you guys are seeing the footage, but DK is like tearing the place apart, and it looks so freaking cool. He kind of looks like Banjo-Kazooie with the overalls there, and it kind of looks really cool. They're going with a brand new direction with this ape, and I gotta say, I'm liking it. It's different. It is very, very, very different. Like, it is not what we're used to at all. But in a way, that's what makes it so cool, that it's so different. And yeah, this game is coming out around July, so it's not the holiday title, but it's definitely going to be a big title, and I'm really excited to play it. Actually, it got me, it grabbed me, it got me. It looks great, it looks really cool. And then to end it off, they announced that the Nintendo Switch 2 is going to have a Mario Kart World Bundle. Makes sense. I mean, Mario Kart's that big of a game, you might as well, bundle it. And yeah, that's how they end it. And I gotta say, for an hour-long presentation, this was amazing. This was amazing. Now, I have things to complain about, but most of it's going to be outside of the Direct, things that they didn't touch upon. Specifically, expect 2 more videos from me, because there's actually a couple of things to talk about in regards to the pricing and the box arts. The box arts, because I'm a huge physical media collector, and there's been a lot of interesting controversy in regards to the box art. But overall, everything else that they announced, very awesome. You know, a lot of surprises. You know, I'm trying to like highlight things, but it's so hard to. We got so much. It's a little overwhelming. And And also, as I'm recording this video and as this video is being uploaded, Treehouse is going on right now, which is even more crazy to me, considering the fact that we're like still getting news. It's kind of hard to post this video because I feel like this video is going to be outdated in a couple days. But yeah, I wanted to get my thoughts out there. I wanted to share it with you guys. And yeah, like, what do you guys think about the Direct? Like, again, like, let's ignore the pricing and stuff going on, because I know that's a big, like, discussion going on right now. Like, what do we think about the Direct? Like, just looking at the Direct as its own thing. Because I know we do have problems. We do have problems with a couple of these games after the fact, after the Direct aired and whatnot. But, like, the Direct itself, like, the vibes, like, as we were watching it, like, what did you guys think? How did you guys feel? Me personally, I was popping off. I thought it was great. I thought it gave us everything we wanted and more. And honestly, I am sold on the Nintendo Switch too. You know, I was like genuinely debating on whether or not I wanted to pick the console up day one. And I'm gonna be real, I've been sold. I've been sold on the console. I think it's amazing. I think it has so many options. Honestly, my only thing I want to see is I want to see if it has themes, because I have seen screenshots of the UI and it looks the exact goddamn same with some changes, like very minor changes. I just want to see that, and I want to see the eShop updated, and that's really about it. Otherwise, I think everything else about the console is amazing. I think it's perfect. I think it's going to be a great goddamn console. I think they did a great job making a successor to the Nintendo Switch 1. But what do you guys think about the Nintendo Switch 2 as well as this Direct? Be sure to let me know in the comments below. And yeah, stay hydrated, stay cool, and I will see you all in another video relatively soon. Bye-bye.